So you don't want to fork out the extra cash for the Lumia 920, but still want a quality Windows Phone 8 device by Nokia. Then you're looking towards the Lumia 820. It's less of a dumbed down version thanks to identical processors and seems like the only choice if you find the 920 size a little overbearing. But the design choices and shortfalls in key areas remove some of its predecessor's luster and values that made it a keen selection. Let's take a look. There are very clear differences in build this time between the Lumia 820 and its bigger brother the 920. Gone is the sleek unibody design, and in is a thick, hard plastic casing that, while being removable and replaceable, ultimately looks and feels like a cheap phone case you would buy off eBay to protect your fragile iPhone. Mostly it stops the hot battery from blasting your palm. It is uninspired and simply shaped with roundings at the corners and a flat back in a boxed out frame. Contrasted by black highlights and a clear black display, the design really is as plain and simple as I described. But simplicity works sometimes, and in this case it's kind of true. Usability and size in hand is a perfect reminder that a big phone doesn't need to constitute a big performance, and I found it ergonomically very pleasing. A major plus of the design is that the case can be completely removed, leaving a vacant skeleton that not only serves to give access to the battery, micro SIM and micro SD slot, can completely alter the phone's appearance on a whim, and vibrancy and good selection of cases will attract those looking to showcase individual style. The base of the phone, after you work your way through the thick plastic, sees the micro USB charging port and the speaker. An unlock button is found middle of the right hand side, which wasn't exactly where I would naturally hold my thumb. And above that is the volume rocker, and below is the dedicated shutter button. The top houses only the headphone jack, and the rest of the sides are clean and glossy. Nothing about this design screams original, but it's set up to be easy, exchangeable, in a lot of ways reminiscent of the Nokia glory days. But it's still a thick brick due to the case and unusually heavy for its size, but a shadow compared to the 920. What would draw me into purchasing the 820 is the fact that while the casing may not reflect a top tier device in any way, shape or form, the internals do. They identically match the 920 with 4G LTE, NFC, a Qualcomm Snapdragon dual-core 1.5 GHz Crate CPU, 1 GB of RAM, and the Adreno 225 GPU. It's that same high-end fluid experience that makes the 820 a treat to use. It ships with 8 GB of onboard storage, but thankfully this can be bolstered by a 32 GB SD card. The battery is removable and quite frankly very necessary because it's only 1650 mAh and performs, as you would expect, very poorly. Charge is drained on heavy use within 8 hours, and even without much use at all will only scrape through a day. Continuous HD video playback only lasted just over 4 hours and 20 minutes, which was a downer. Connectivity was excellent, and I found call quality and the level of reception to be very comparable to high-end devices. In use, I must say the 4.3-inch clear black AMOLED display looked appealing and worked with the size, but 480 by 800 pixels with a resolution of 217 ppi is still quite low. Text came across very nicely and colours were accurate and worked well to complement the high contrast Windows Phone 8 UI design, especially blacks, which were deep and in some ways popped whites better than on standard AMOLED displays. The screen also features extra sensitive touch accuracy that will work perfectly even when wearing material gloves. I used a flannel because temperatures in Brisbane never really get glove cold. I'm getting pretty comfortable with Windows Phone 8 now. A lot of this has to do with the ability to pick up any brand's Windows devices and having no difference between their layout and operation. The OS is consistent amongst all of them. The only differential is included manufacturer apps. In this field, Nokia takes the cake. A lot of these apps are simple replicas of either inclusions on other smartphones or popular downloaded apps like Creative Studio to give a little filter enhancement to photos that was very simple and easy to use with extremely effective results. Their takes on media players, gaming, music, photos, and contacts are all well-featured applications. The reasons for this stem from the integration of multiple sources of data seamlessly. Social media feeds directly into applications to give you every bit of information you can find about the people you follow in the appropriate applications. The music app will also feed into the web by finding local gigs and recommended hits for you to listen to. But the big winner for Nokia is here. Not as in it just arrived, but an app name. It refers to their mapping service. It is very fast and simple to use take on maps and GPS navigation. I found it very efficient and intuitively set out for quick use on the go. The Here Drive application was amazing. The colour palette and thick graphics made navigating to destinations fantastic. Couldn't fault it. The Here City Lens is Nokia's augmented reality style app for finding places of interest in a real world layout, but for me, it's a bit of a gimmick. I also like a monthly layout for a calendar, but without the ability to zoom in, the native calendar is hard to use. But moving into your agenda, multiple calendars aggregate and display in different colours, which I did like. Windows Phone 8 this time around brings forth a smaller live tile, which I loved and think it needed. I now group together applications I don't necessarily need to see a live flow of the latest information, and it makes the vertically navigated homepage more pleasing to the eye. But it suffers from a stagnated forced colour theme selection, which can be painful, and I found myself opting against grouping applications that didn't define an individual app colour. The same goes with the inability to place a defined background image. Black or white is clean but boring, particularly on the alphabetical app index. I am now accustomed to viewing the text-based layout idea that is Windows Phone 8, but it's a stark contrast to the more graphical approach of Android, and something for Windows to work on. The Lumia 820 does enough to provide a good media experience. Videos come across with good quality and excellent depth of colour. Audio quality is not the best around, but it's still very good and without any awful noise artifacts. Internet browsing as well is a selling point with any Windows device, as it's one of the fastest browsing experiences available on a mobile device, and the sensitivity and accuracy of touch make it a flowing experience. The camera though for me is a little weak. The software can be booted quickly with the dedicated shutter button, which I love having on a device. The overlay is simple, settings are fixed at the base of the phone and rotate with the orientation. Raw out of the box, you get a bit of a second-rate software suite. You can alter the exposure, which is fantastic, but it doesn't have any other bells and whistles. This you will have to download from the App Store, and they are found in the Lenses tab. But these operate separately from the camera app and then feels disjointed and sluggish when on the move. Some are fun, but nothing you haven't seen before. The quality of the 8 megapixel camera as well is adequate. If this isn't going to be a major selling point for you, then you won't be disappointed. Under good circumstances, shots were sharp and colours fairly true. Automatic exposures worked well, but night shots in particular conditions struggled. Video at night did very poorly and most moderately lit areas came across extremely dark. The front-facing VGA camera isn't a selling point either, but achieves what it has to for video chat, but photos were fairly low resolution. But you can check out all the shots and videos at the KABOOtech Facebook page by hitting the link in the description below. In some ways, the Lumia 820 looks like a budget device. The case choice is completely removed from its origins. I mean, it almost looks aftermarket. But its simplicity in design and its focus on giving freedom of expression through colour will sell it for some people, especially those who want a speedy, full-featured experience. It's all there for you. The shortcomings of the Windows Phone App Store are obviously present, but overall I didn't feel limited in the end by using a Windows Phone 8 device. I do think Nokia's apps make the OS more appealing, but phone design is no longer their strong point. It didn't feel like these would be the device of choice for discerning people who want the most out of a current gen smartphone, but perfect launching point for someone getting into the game, or a seasoned veteran who can't chase top dollar. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been Kurt from KABOOtech. Thanks for watching.